Hello, good evening. Buenas tardes a todos. Bienvenidos al Instituto Cervantes. My name is Victor Ugarte. I'm the director here in the Instituto. This evening we are honored to welcome author Brenda Navarro to the Instituto Cervantes, London. She will be concluding her UK tour after presenting her book, Eating Ashes, at the Instituto Cervantes in Manchester on Tuesday, and at the University of Cambridge yesterday evening with Carlos Fonseca. Today, so I want to thank Brenda for being here, and of course also Silvia Quin Rothlisberger that will be in conversation with Brenda today. I want to thank also Sandra Pareja, which is Brenda's agent, and Margot Wheel, One World Publications Publicity Director, and of course the Embassy of Mexico in the United Kingdom for collaborating with us in the promotion of this event. Brenda Navarro is one of the standout voices in contemporary Spanish language fiction. Her debut novel, Casas Vacías, Empty Houses, won the Tigre Juan Award, and her second book, Cenizas en la boca, won several major awards too, including the Cálamo and the Cegal prizes, as well as the Madrid Booksellers Prize. Beyond her novels, Brenda also writes for film and television, and she is a regular contributor to the El País newspaper and other media. She was born in and raised in Mexico City and now is based in Madrid. And Brenda will be joining the conversation with Silvia Quin Rothlisberger, who is a Colombian journalist, writer, and broadcaster based in London. Her work has appeared in Wasafiri, The Right Reviews, Songlines, The Guardian, and other outlets. For more than 14 years, she has been telling the stories of London's Latin America community across print, radio, and documentary. Her fiction has been included in emerging writer of anthologies by El Ojo de la Cultura and Coma Press. She currently works at The Guardian. And now I want to talk to you just briefly about our next activities in the Cervantes Institute. Just next week, we have on Tuesday an evening with Mexican short movies organized in collaboration with the National Autonomous University of Mexico, the UNAM. And on Monday 16th, we celebrate the LGBTQ month, and we will screening the documentary Diosa at the Garden Cinema, which is very close here to Holborn Station, an event organized in collaboration with the Spanish researchers in the UK Association. Thank you very much. So I leave you with the author and dinner. Thank you very much.
For being here tonight, despite the horrible weather, the rain, the cold, but of course, Brenda Navarro deserves all our attention. So, welcome, Brenda Navarro, to Instituto Cervantes, London.
Yeah, no, I am so happy to be here and to see these beautiful faces. So thank you so much.
So, we're here tonight to talk about Brenda's second novel, Eating Ashes, which recently out in English. In Eating Ashes, Diego, a teenage migrant from Mexico to Spain, commits suicide. And this traumatic, painful event is the springboard to talk about discrimination, class, labor rights, racism, bullying. We are told the story from the point of view of Diego's sister, the unnamed narrator. So I'm going to start with the opening image of the book, which is the image that triggers the whole narration, is a teenager boy falling from a building. A boy called Diego who commits suicide. This image and the possible sounds that this body makes hitting the pavement would make haunts the narrator, Diego's sister, throughout the book. So I want to ask you about this image and about how was the idea behind Eating Ashes conceived?
Okay. Well, I don't know. Yeah, it sounds a
There is
little
a
bit
bit of feedback.
You can hear me right? Okay. Well, I was thinking about this question these days because I am trying to say something different in different events. Um, and yesterday I was explaining that the music and the reading it was really important to me when I was thinking in this book, and I will talk about this for a while. But I guess in this occasion, and that's maybe that's why, because I am seeing a lot of smiley faces right now. It was because I was trying to understand what kind of emotion or feeling do you need to have to feel like the life is not good to be in it. And as a Mexican woman, I think in Latin America we are always thinking about death. We are always thinking like there is hope, or we are hopeless because our societies are always dealing with a lot of social problems and political problems, and how this it is impact in the private lives. And when I was thinking about the character of Diego, the most important thing it was the silence. I don't know if, the experience here with the Latin American people, but sometimes when you are moving around the world, around even in the neighborhoods, you need to be so quiet to try to understand the environment, because you need to be like this other kind of people to try to be so happy and smart and clever, because you need to get a job or to have other friends and whatever. So for me, the novel started when I felt like I felt a teenager when I am talking in English. It's like I'm really smart in Spanish and I have a lot of words in Spanish, but when I am talking in English, it's like I need to try to connect with the language, and it was like yes, I need to understand what kind of body language had Diego when he decided to jump in the building from the building, and why he needed to do that. And for me, the most important thing it was like how it is the woman point of view, and when the main character is trying to understand the popular verse of Vampire Weekend's music. I don't want to live, but I don't want to die, but I forget it. I don't want to die, but no. Oh, please remember, it's my line, my favorite line, and I don't remember. I don't want to die. I don't want to live like this, but I don't want to die.
You can sing it.
Yeah,
Sing it.
yeah. It was like I want to try to sing, but no. Yeah, and it was like I need to think about this rhythm, this music, this emotion, and this feeling like you are always a teenager, because you need to try to performance the life when you are so far out from your family and friends or whatever. Yeah.
Mhm. So now that you mention adolescence, um, I think something important in the book is the traumas of adolescent boys and girls, because first and foremost, we have the traumas of Diego. He's being bullied at school. He's facing racism in in the streets of Madrid. He's being accused of stealing at home. And there's also the trauma of the narrator, first for losing her brother.
Yeah.
But also she was deprived of her own adolescence and childhood even, because when her mother decided to move to Spain, she left her in charge of her toddler brother.
Yeah.
So can you expand on these experiences of trauma in adolescence that you explore in Eating Ashes?
Yeah. I like you bring the trauma word, because I am right now at this moment in my life trying to understand Freud's theories about the language and how we are always narrating our lives, and how much important is the word that you are always using when you try to explain your life or tell us a story or whatever. And I I guess we are always traumatized for something in our lives, especially in childhood, because Freud say that. No, it's not my my theory, but I guess we are living right now in a moment where we are trying to explain our mistakes because we are these kind of traumas, and I guess the main character is trying to dealing with that and try to put away that idea because she wasn't she don't doesn't want to be a victim. She wants to be like this powerful woman trying to understand the world, but also she's trying to understand, when and feminists told us like if you put your purple glasses, it's because you understand the world in other with other point of view, and for me that the main character is trying to tell us is like if you put your glasses with the pain, with the more with the idea like how you can deal with the with your emotions because you have this brother and you take care of him since he was a baby. It is like you need to see this and you need to understand that not always to be a precarious is the most horrible thing. There are a lot other things that are horrible, and yes, I want to say like yeah, we are always dealing with a trauma, but this main character trying to say yes, I have this trauma, I try to understand and I try to narrative in other different point of view, because she's so smart and clever, I guess. So she no me.
The narrator. And it's interesting that you mentioned about the point of view of the narrator, how we
Yeah.
discover Diego's life and everything through the eyes of the narrator. We also see the character of the mother
Yeah.
through the eyes of the narrator. We never hear the mother's point of view. And through the eyes of the narrator, we see a selfish mother. We resent the mother, at least I did sometimes as a reader, for leaving behind the two children, for not bringing them to Spain after 9 years,
Yeah.
for leaving a little girl in charge of a toddler. But there is a glimpse in the book about what the mother's situation could have been in those 9 years when the narrator meets Olga, for example, a migrant from Bolivia, who tells her about all she had to go through in Spain before she could bring her children from Bolivia. And it is through meeting other migrant mothers that the narrator understands her own mother and the hardship that she might have endured. So my question is about any research that could have gone into creating the character of the mother or of Olga, the Bolivian woman. Like, did you talk to other Latin American migrants who have faced similar situations, or what research, if any, went into this?
Any research. It was like well, I always have this sociologist point of view since when I was really young. And the first thing that my teachers told me, it was like you need to listen the world. You need to put the point of view as like as a service for the world. Try to understand it as a sociology. Um, and for me it was really interesting how can I try to translate it, that kind of ideas that I have, political, cultural, and social things about the migration phenomena, and for me the take care change in the world, how Latin American women needs to be in other sides in the world because they need to pay a lot of debts and they need to survive. And as a Mexican, I grew up listening that my uncles or the uncles, other uncles, especially uncles, I don't know why, uh, are in the United States and they need to be like us. So we need to be so proud about them. But I don't know, maybe in 2010 or 2008, we started to see like women needed to
Migrate.
migrating, especially in Europe, and the reception of society, it was really different. It was like they are bad mothers, they are abandoning their children, and for me it was like a kind of shock because of course, patriarchy and whatever. And when I was writing this mother in Eating Ashes, I always thinking about my first novel, and I have this kind of label writer, like a motherhood around me, and I am so tired about to talk about motherhood as middle class, and yes, of course, and actually I guess I belong to the middle class right now in Spain. But for me, a mother is just a mother, and a mother is just a woman, and a woman is just this complex human being trying to deal with a life like other people, So it was really important to me to put this kind of anger from the main character and then try to transforming her point of view in something more tender, and try to understand like the mother was just a woman dealing with the violence in Mexico, and with these horrible things that even her family had against her. So for me, this is a real mother trying to be a mother, and putting away the idea like the mother needs to be a good mother. It's just a mother, and that's okay. And yeah, it was really important to me to build this character in that way.
That's interesting. And now that you mentioned the violence in Mexico,
Yeah.
so when the narrator returns to Mexico with Diego's ashes, she is confronted with the painful reality of violence and death that lurks her country. Her two female friends have been kidnapped and are probably dead. The book dialogues between the hardships in Spain and the violence in Mexico. The narrator has to see the brutal image. This is another really like powerful cinematic image in the book, where there are some decapitated bodies hanging from a bridge.
Yeah.
And then she also has to experience the disappearance of her aunt and nephews and the displacement of her grandparents, just only in the small period of time that she returns to Mexico with her brother's ashes. So can you expand on how Eating Ashes dialogues between the hardships of migrants in Spain and the violence they are escaping from in Mexico?
Because everything is connected. And for me, that is the most important thing that I have when I am trying to write something as a literature. For me, it is, as I said before, it's like every decision that governments or powerful people are doing at this moment or before impact our private lives. It's like we cannot. I forget it. We cannot do that. Yeah. And for me, it was really important to explain to me when I was writing this chapter why this main character, this narrator, was so clever, and why she felt like in Spain she was a kind of anger girl trying to dealing with the I don't know. Let me think even in Spanish, like um this innocent Spanish society about to understand the violence, and I put that chapter, and I was I had a lot of doubts because I wasn't to put the violence like a stereotype like Latin American people, because in my experience when I moved to Spain, the first things that people told me, it was like did you watch Narcos? And it was like, oh no.
Same happens to me as well.
Like why I need to watch that, and I felt angry. That was my, I guess, the most annoying experience as a migrant woman. Like why I have this label in my face just because I am Mexican. And in the novel I put like the Chavo del Ocho, it's like the Mexican stereotypes. And and it was something like I need to put my idea that the violence in Mexico is really connected with the violence in Spain, or this kind of European dream. It's like we need to understand the connections between the global economy with the north of the world and the south of the world, and why we are always colonized. But again, trying to put more emotions and feelings and complex ideas with the main character, and not like I don't know, pamphleto. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I say something about your question, actually.
No,
Yeah.
So really how both things are connected.
Yeah.
The violence
Everything is
in
connected.
Mexico.
Yeah.
And also there is also something related in the book to this, which is how the two characters are perceived in Spain, and the experiences that they have to go through, which are like microaggressions that are soul breakers. And two examples are when the narrator is walking and someone calls her a wetback and spat
Yeah.
on the ground where she's walking, or when Diego he's arriving home, like you want to go home, and then he's being followed by a group of men with bats, and a neighbor doesn't let him in his own house
Yeah.
because he says, like, I've never seen you, you don't live here. And someone calls the police, and it ends up being in a very complicated situation, just a Mexican boy trying to enter his building, and he's being like,
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to you right now, and that in Spanish it could be a really good answer because it's connected with the Vampires Weekend music, because it is from a fingerback song from Vampire Weekend, and there is this verse where Vampire Weekend tell us in this story in the song, like hit me with the wooden bat, and he's when they are telling us like the violence is always with the others. And when I was writing this scene, I really have the song in my head, not just in my head, in my computer, listening over and over and over and over again. It was kind of traumatic experience because it was like I had the song right now at this moment, like oh my God, it was really painful to write this scene. But for me, it was really important to try to connect that song with the story, because for me it's again an European dream, but also an American dream, and how Diego Garcia always trying to be a different. He wasn't to be a Mexican poor guy. He wasn't to be a soldier. He wanted to be as Ezra Kenny, the front singer of Vampire Weekend, a white guy and a happy guy, and with the whole privilege. And he never had that. And for me, that kind of shocked experience, like he understood in that moment, like I just a Mexican boy, and my future could be just a soldier, and then blah, like the sunset. And it was like, yeah, I need to put the bad, I need to put the racism, I need to put the xenophobic, because it's not just in Spain, it's around the world, even in between Latin American countries, it's like we are always saying the other people is the bad people, and we are the good people, and that is the most annoying concept that a society had, because it's like, what it means to be a good people, like what it means to be a bad people. And so I was thinking about that but with the sun and over again, it was really traumatic.
Yeah, no, and I was angry as well, because I was like, Diego ends up being like the angry man in the situation, but I mean, he's trying to get home,
Exactly,
and everyone is stopping him.
Oh, but that phrase is it really touching, because he's just trying to be home in Spain, in his neighborhood, and even in his family. And it's like he can not have that at all. Yeah.
And now that you mentioned Ezra Kenny,
Yeah.
there is a conversation between the narrator and the brother, That was so nice. That he's like, "What if you could talk to Ezra Kenny? What would you tell him?" And the brother is like, and she's like, "Oh, I love you, Ezra."
Yeah. Yeah.
And the brother is like, "Oh, how is it? Chingona, something like
No, maybe pendeja,
a
right?
pendeja, yeah, a pendeja."
Yeah. Yeah. Uh,
That was
but
very
that's why
touching.
that's a conversation that I had with my daughters. Like, what do you do if Ezra Kelly tell you something and they told me, "Oh, I love you, Ezra Kelly." So, because I was listening this music for 2 years. Spotify Rap told me for 3 years, like the music that you heard, that you listened to, it was just Vampire Weekend. It's embarrassing for me, but that's the truth. So my daughters at this moment told me like, "Oh, I love you, Ezra Kelly," right? But no, I don't love her. Um, so for me, it was like the most touching scene because it's something that I experience, and sometimes this is so clumsy, no, like a um even in Spanish, like so embarrassing, but no, it's like a chiri, no, chiri, no, come on, let me think about even in Spanish. No, but I forget the word that I wanted to say, but no, the most closest experience that I put in the book as a person, because again, for me, the book it's a lot of questions about what it means to be happy, what it means to be um, what it means to have that dignity in your life, and what kind of ways do you have to get to be happy or to be angry or to be a victim or to be a victimary, and that that whole questions for me. It's like a summary in that is seen like how a beautiful thing like just you can say I love you, Ezra, mom, the sister, or whatever. It could be also a joke, and sometimes a mean joke, and how the context it is really important. For me, that scene is like so you want to be you want to live the American or the European dream. Well, maybe you need to be empty and jump to the window. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And now that you mentioned the dignity that you want to live with dignity and all this, it brings me to the question about the labor rights.
Yeah.
So the narrator, of course, she arrives in Madrid and then moves to Barcelona. She has to do a lot of jobs as a carer of babies and of elderly people. Um, and they in some way like lack labor rights. There is like a union,
Yeah.
and there is a group of workers that are they call themselves las primas, the cousins, because they are desperate to make a living or because they don't have the right documents yet the job as carers are as the job as carers that they have to do at the beginning, and how working in hotels is a sort of goal for them, like a job breakthrough. So can you expand on this issue in the novel about
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to say the word it was cursi.
corny,
Yeah.
corny.
Yeah. Exactly, Cardi. Yeah. Thank God. Uh, well, that's my favorite part of the book as a reader, because mm, as a 40s woman, I always ask myself, how can I deal with the feminist and the political point of view that I had between my friends and I, and I was trying to understand that for me right now at this moment in my life, I need to feel like I have a lot of friends than other kind of ideals. And when I try to convince me that that's the correct answer right now in my life, it is because I don't know if you feel this, but when women understood that the marriage is not the answer for their lives, the capitalist system are always telling us like, but you need to be unhappy, and if you are not dealing with with your husband or your boyfriend or whatever, you need to fiscalize in some relationship. And the capitalist system tell us like what about your friends? They have responsibility with you. They are really good friends with you. They they are trying to break our network, and yeah, our network and our relationship. And for me, this part of the novel, it is like, yes, we are so complex. We are about women. We are horrible people, but still we have a lot of love to offer to our friends, and that's the most important thing, because right now it is our friends, but I promise you that in 2 years it would be your cat is really responsible with you. Or, it's like they are always trying to quit our most important feelings, because but especially with women, in my opinion. So yeah, I try to put that like, yeah, we are making a lot of mistakes when we are trying to deal with the war and justice, but yes, it is what it is. And as a feminist woman, I think that feminists, the different feminists, or the different movement social women, are always making a lot of change without any murder, and for me it is really important to put that in the book. Yeah. Sometimes I'm so political, but you are not feeling like the main character is political,
And
right?
there is like a conversation between the narrator and her two closest
Yeah.
friends at like towards the end, when they all like reconcile or their differences, and they go to the beach and they have this, like,
Yeah,
I thought that was
sometimes
such a
we need
nice
to be a bit
thing.
with our friends, right? Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Yeah, not everything is harsh.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a very touching like scene. I really enjoyed that
Yeah.
part of the book. So I want to ask you about the translation of Eating Ashes. It's Cenizas en la boca in Spanish, and it was translated by Megan McDowell. So I want to ask about the translation process. If you work with Megan in the translation, if he had many questions for you, if he asked you about, because of course there is a bit of Spanglish,
Yeah.
about the decisions of leaving some words in Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she made me a lot of questions. That my ex-husband, and like, oh my God, Megan was like so obsessed with any word in the book, and for me, sometimes it was like, it's okay, Megan, I don't remember that word. I don't remember why I put that word in the book, but she makes me feel like sometimes it was this is horrible, but it's the truth. I am telling you the truth, okay? It was like, oh, like, oh my God, I wrote this paragraph. This is really great, because Megan like put me in another point of view, with the character and with the political context that she doesn't understand very well, because she has this kind of Chilean Spanish, no Mexican Spanish, and she asked me a lot of questions about why a lot of pendejos, or why you put this word when you are trying to explain the family context, and sometimes for me it was like, because it is, and she told me, no, but I need to try to understand why. And yeah, sometimes it was like, yeah, I wrote this beautiful paragraph, and then why I put that, it's not. But because it was so easy to quit for me, because sometimes I didn't have the answers about the questions that Megan had. So I feel so honored. Megan is so smart. She understood the most important thing for me if in this book is the rhythm, and she really respect that. And when she wasn't understood something, she told me like, could you read this paragraph for me in your Mexican Spanish, and to try to understand the rhythm. And it was a really beautiful experience. And yeah, when I read the book, for me it was like, there are like this Mexican main character, and then there is this English main character, and it's like the physicians told us there are 11 dimensions, and for me any translation is this other tiny different idea of the main character is other woman in other worlds. And I'm so glad that the Megan's character is so intelligent in this book.
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to make one last question, and then do we have time for one last question? And then we're going to open the panel to the audience.
And then I will ask a lot of questions for you.
And then you can ask Brenda all the questions that you, I'm sure, want to ask her. So my final question is: there is a movie being made based on the novel, and directed by no other than Diego Luna. So my question is: how did this project come about, and did you work in the script of the film?
Well, no, I did not have any part of the crew. I didn't say this, but I guess this is the moment because, of course, you are not telling to the world this. But when the book came out in 2022, I guess, before the publishing date, I had the offer from Diego. I mean, he really loved the book even before he understood the impact that the book will have. And I was kind of nervous because for me it was like Empty Houses was really big deal in Mexico, and I felt so insecure about eating ashes, and for me it was really good to feel like maybe the book it would be just other book and it was okay for me, and for me it was like if Diego Luna make a movie from this book, maybe my book will be other kind of book that I want to have, because for me this book it was a kind of fight against Spain, like I wanted to fight against the Spanish readers in a really good way, because I live in Spain, I pay my taxes there, my daughters live there, and I wanted to put in the table the conversation that yes, you are like this and I am like this, and we need to talk about that. And I felt like I don't know if I wanted the book could be successful book, but then the Spanish readers told me like yes, it is a successful book, and we want to give you this award. So right now for me it is a privilege to feel like one idea that I have in the pandemic, it is an artistic idea that makes Diego Luna and the other script writers are working in my work, and yeah, it's a privilege. I feel like every person in the world need to have that kind of feeling that I have, like yes, I'm done. I could die right now because my daughters will be so proud of me. They are so proud of me. Even like sometimes I feel like maybe I need to put more proud of them because they really love my work. And I don't know, the whole idea that my daughters could say, yeah, my mom could write something and impacts the world, the small world, because my youngest daughter told me, yes, you're kind of famous, but not as a virus. Never as a
The
virus.
standards, no?
Yeah, exactly. Like, put your food in your and understand like yes, famous, but not so much. So yes, I feel like the movie will be successful because Diego is like so famous.
Yeah.
And he have this kind of star around he. Yeah, it would be great, and I'm so happy. And you will buy my books, and I will have my jet, and I come back to London in my private jet. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Brenda. So now we can open the panel to see who has questions for Brenda.
It sounds like a very interesting book, and I hope to read it. I guess I was just curious. Several months ago, there was an exhibition at the Welcome Trust about the experience of different female communities who come to Europe or the United States to work, like you point out, to help their families.
Yeah.
But sometimes it involves a long period of disconnect, I guess, while their children are growing up. And I was wondering whether you feel like in Spain, for example, where you now live, whether the experience of the Mexicans is unique or true for other
Mm.
communities of non-Spanish. I mean, particularly those who don't habla español.
Yeah. This is a really interesting question because I guess Mexican people in Spain are so privileged. You know, I know, you know, the community, the Mexican community in Spain, especially, is like they live in the most um, um, rich neighborhood, you know, and so no, it's a Mexican experience. Actually, I try to put the Latin American experience. There's the thing is, I am Mexican and I am writing in Mexican Spanish, and I remember that when I moved to Barcelona without my oldest daughter, so I needed to try to understand how can I bring my daughter with me in Barcelona, and I went to this Barcelona office where they offer information from migrant female. And I remember that when I was in that reunion, there were a lot of Latin American, but also European poor women. And when I started to listen their stories, I really feel embarrassing with me because it was like I just needed to put the name of my children or my child, and because in Spain, if you are a Spanish citizen, you have the right that to bring your family with you. And in that moment, it was the right of my ex-husband, no? Like it was his right to bring my daughter, and not my right, not my daughter's right. It was his right. So, but I really listen at these horrible stories about these women talking like we cannot deal with this horrible amount of money that we need to put in the yeah in the bureaucracy, and it was a kind of heartbreaking because for me in that moment understood that a lot of women who abandon their children are suffering a lot, and that moves me, and of course I try to put it in the book. Yeah, so I guess Mexican, no, it's the most um, experience and regular experience, but a lot of Latin American women are dealing with that right now. Yeah, it's as a kind of slavery, I guess. So yeah.
Someone else.
Thank you. And thanks for the book. I really enjoy it. And all the things you were saying you were trying to communicate, I really felt them when I read it. So it worked out really well. I wanted to ask you about the labor women in Barcelona and Las Primas. And I really liked that part of the book, but I also found it quite funny, those kind of fights that there were there. But I was really curious about what was your experience with that? Do you go to some events like that, or do you talk about like meeting some of the women maybe in these situations? But I want to know maybe about some of the women that perhaps inspired that section of the book.
Yeah. Well, as I said at the beginning, right now I am a middle class Spanish woman, and mm, the environment that I am living is middle class Spanish society, and I don't need it to talk with migrant women because I listened a lot of ideas that the Spanish middle class women have with these migrant people, and I feel so angry with that, you know, and I don't needed to listen other kind of testimonies. It was like I just listening like the some Spanish women thinking like they have the right to slave migrant woman, you know, and yeah, that makes me feel like of course that kind of people if it doesn't matter if it's Spanish or whatever. It, of course, couldn't be my friend, but it's okay. Just with your testimonies, I can put that experience in these cousins, women. Yeah, and also it's like yes, I try to be like yeah, I'm an activist, and I worked in human rights when I was living in Mexico. But as a writer, right now I try to stay there, but behind the scenes, because it's like sometimes the media trying to put the writers or artist people in front, and for me it's like I cannot do that, because the migrant movements in Spain are dealing with a lot of things. Right now we had a big news, and there are this regularization, and it's a really, really good news, but it is because the people were fighting a lot for a long time. So yes, I am there, but always behind, because it's not my experience. They need to be the protagonist, Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure meet you. I have it's very nice to have this reflection because basically, yeah, as you tell us in your book, we are living in this hostile environment against migrant people, and it's very, very important as a migrant women with share similar experience see that, and it's very painful that still we see this situation here and Spain in another place of the world. But my question is, and I think you respond a little bit with this distancement that you are doing as a writer, because here in United Kingdom, a lot of the new narrative fiction, especially non fiction as well, the majority of the writers that they come from different parts of the world, they are political, they take action and they take part in the struggles that they represent, and they always, when we assist to listen them, they are talking about, for example, in the black writers, always is so important to talk, or when I listen, they are talking about decolonialization, reparation, and this kind of stuff. And this, for me, this is very nice because it's very, very political. So in your case, because I suppose now you are very international writer, if you have the opportunity to exchange ideas with another writers that they are talking about their experience, but in fiction, biographical fiction, how is your experience, especially because now you are moving in different language and this kind of things? It's so interesting to me to know what is your point.
Okay. What a complicated question, mate. And by the way, hi. This is a complicated question because I don't have the vocabulary to explain that I want to say. But no, the big problem for me, but I want to say just for me, I don't know the other opinions for my colleagues. It is the festivals, conference, lectures, and sometimes workshops that they offer us to for work. It is always like we have this label, and I spent almost 8 years of my life talking about motherhood all the time. And the festivals and blah, 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 always putting me with writers that they are talking about motherhood. And sometimes I say to the people, like, I can talk about other things, and I really want to do that. And our time together, my colleagues and I, it's like we need to try to change the subject in this conversation, and we are trying to change something. It's like yeah, we are the motherhood writers, but what about, and try to put other point of views in the table, but we cannot, because I don't want to sound like oh, I am quejándome about this, because complaining, because no, it's I cannot complain at all, but it is like we are always doing the things really fast, and sometimes it's like oh, I like your word, yeah, we cannot have these kind of conversations. It's yeah, it is really complicated, and for me it's yeah, it's frustrating, and I try to send emails or some before in Twitter, but right now there is no option. Yeah, I try to have these conversations, but no, everything is really fast right now, and in my opinion, we need to stop sometimes and not to say something. Right now for me it's like we need to listen the other people. As a writer, we don't have the answer for anything, and we need to listen people like right now. And because I said I want to ask a lot of questions for you, because I am more interested to listen to you than the things that I can say right now in this world. Yeah.
You can raise your hand and they will give you
Yeah,
a microphone.
Gabriela, what kind of a two-part question? How is writing about narco violence an Spanish way?
Yeah.
And then I know there is a big debate on whether we should write at all about this from different parts of the world and extent to which we idealize narco culture and all of that. So where would you stand in this debate? Or if there is any debate at all? Yeah.
Uy, I don't know. But you can explain me what is like a culture, because for me, again, it's really complex to talk about that. But I am so tired about that kind of literature. Uh, I I think it was kind of trendy thing because as I said, 10 years ago, Narcos was so famous, and I don't know. I just, I don't know. I don't have any answer for this question, but because for me, narco culture is the past, and we need, as I said right now, like we need to listen what's happening right now, because we at this moment we try to understand that kind of phenomena, and we don't have the answer, and I hope you have the answers with your research. But yeah, for me it's just a marketing label, actually. Yeah, because I don't know, I am thinking Fernanda Melchor or Elmer Mendoza or Antonio Ortuño or Emiliano Monge. Every book that they wrote, maybe the marketing told us like, this is a narco culture, and what is that? I guess you have more answers than me, actually. Yeah, but I always trying to put the narco culture so away, because we are not a narco citizens. It is we are other thing, and I am trying to put these other point of views that as we are so smart as a Mexican society, we had a lot of skills, and we are like I really hate this word, and even in Spanish, and I don't know in English, but resilience. I really hate that word, because it is like oh, you're like a Mexican woman, you are so resilient, and it's like no, we are dealing with a lot of things, and it is really painful. And when you put that kind of label, uh, we are trying to explain that, and we are putting other subjects that really interest me um, than that. But maybe you have more answers than me. Yeah, yeah. Sorry for my cantinfleo.
We have time for two more questions. I think someone, that girl over there, and someone else. If
Hi, Brenda. Thank you so much. I had just a question about how you've seen your identity change as a Mexican woman living in Spain who migrated. And I just want to know whether that's allowed you to, reflect on it when you were writing these characters, and kind of could you resonate to them?
Hmm. I guess when I wrote this book, I felt like a Mexican woman. But right now I feel more Madrileña, I need to say that. And for me, it's a kind of political fight. In Madrid, I say I am Madrileña and deal with that. And yeah, for me, it's like, of course, I am Mexican. Um, Cantinfleo all the time. Of course, my identity is Mexican. I really miss the corn in my life. really, really miss the corn. There are no good corn in Spain, not at all. And of course, I am missing Mexican culture, of course. But right now, as a political position, as a political identity, I say I am Madrileña, and I Spanish people. My ID said I am Spanish, and you need to deal with that, and you need to understand that Spain is other thing that the political tell us. So yeah, but I guess I hope maybe in 2 years or whatever, I can say I am a Portuguese citizen. I don't know, it's like yeah, I always trying to change my home, and yeah, maybe Portuguese or Argentinian or whatever. Yeah, I guess we can be a citizen of the world. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't have any kind of real questions, real answers.
One last question. There's someone there as well. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hi, so I had a question. I think it was really interesting when you talked about the translation of the novel, and you said that like Megan's narrator almost was like her own character, and it was sort of like two different dimensions with two different narrators. So, I mean, could you tell us a bit more about the ways that those two characters are different, and the ways that maybe they're the same as well?
Yeah. Yeah, well, thank you for that question, because I didn't say anything clever about language, and for me, language is like if I had a real love is language. Sorry for my ex-husband and whatever, but language for me, it's like yeah, I feel like I could be myself when I am working with words and with the Spanish words. And mm, in my head, it's like in Ceniza en la boca, my main character is really Mexican, and actually it's anger Mexican woman. But in Eating Ashes, for me, it is like this kind of hybrid Spanish Mexican, and almost a little bit American woman. And it is different for me in this translation. The main character is a little bit spoiled, and sometimes like Winnie, it is the word, like whiny, and sometimes when I read the book, it was like sometimes you are not the best person that I need to read in this moment. But for me, in English book, she's strongest than in the Spanish version, and she's like a living in this other world in English language, and yes, it's other kind of dimension. And yeah, it's beautiful. I always say that my Sweden experience, because when I was in Stockholm, and yeah, well, Stockholm, the translator read the one part of the book in Swedish, and believe me or not, the rhythm, it was the same. Of course, I know what she was reading, of course, but I don't know the Swedish language. But the rhythm, it was exactly the same, and it was so shocking for me. But I feel like this character in this translation is Mexican. Yeah.
Maybe she was listening to Vampire Weekend when she was
Yeah, my translator listened a lot of Vampire Weekend. Yeah, it's like a Vampire Weekend need to give me some royalties or something like that.
Should we finish the event by you reading?
Yeah, but really, do you want to listen my horrible English? Yeah. No, the thing is, sometimes I don't remember how can I pronounce some sounds, but just a little bit paragraph, right? Okay.
Right.
Uh, I read online that the ashes of dead people aren't toxic, and that they're basically just a mix of cellulose, tannins, calcium, and potassium salts, carbonate, and phosphate. I don't know how can I pronounce these words. I never got sick from eating Diego's ashes. The day I went to say goodbye to his altar and my uncle's house, Before we left for the airport, I put another handful of him into the plastic bag and packed it in my suitcase with my clothes. I don't know why I ate my brother, but I assured me. Having his ashes on my thumb, so fine they were almost imperceptible, brought me peace. I don't have an explanation for it, and I am not going to try to give one. Did I eat his ashes? Yes. Why? I don't know. Does it matter? No. Do I regret it? No. Why not? Because that's the way things are. You do them, and that's it. I would have kept doing it, but I ran out. I didn't notice, or I only noticed once that leg was a dirty baggie. That's how Diego disappeared forever from Madrid. Bada bing, bada boom, first on the ground, then in a bag. That's how we all disappear.
Thank you so much, Brenda. And thank you to everyone. Now she's going to sign.
Yeah,
the
well,
books.
thank you so much, Silvia, for
Thank you. Like, whatever.
yeah, and thank you the Instituto Cervantes. Thank you for having us here, and this is my Spanish home. Thank